Hey everyone, it's Michael Mechanical here, and today we're going to be probably just about starting to clean up and get ready to work on the ZL Fairlane again. So, I got to clean up all these benches, put all these things back in the car that almost sold but didn't sell because it's too far away, moving a lot of stuff around and getting it all cleaned up so we have space to put stuff we have to and put tools and stuff. Dad sort of started cleaning up. As you can see, there's a bench there, there's a cupboard here he wants me to fix up first of all because it got bent, and then we're going to put this probably in that corner over there and tools go on this. My old door is off its hinges, it's going to be destroyed, go in the bin, and we'll finally get the opportunity to work on the ZL. So there's a few things about this we need to know. First of all, we're going to be taking pictures of this area before we do any more work. We're going to be making a new piece to go into the inside, which I don't have, but we have the outside piece here. So there's a bit of work to do, and we have to also probably clean out the car because, well, one, we're definitely going to be putting this door back on, and for two, rats and mice are a pain. And we'll see right here roughly a bit of crap from rats and mice shitting everywhere and whatever. So the plan is to try and get some work done on this and have it ready to rock and roll again. And also, here we go, pitter patter feet. Now, how are they actually getting into the car? My father said he watched them running up there and he reckons they're living in there somewhere. I don't actually see where they'd be hiding because yeah, I don't have them living inside the car as far as I'm aware. Other than that, as you can probably see, the big demolitions crane out there destroying the neighbour's house. That's one of the reasons why I decided to do this now, but another reason is I planned on doing it before the holidays. I was like, you know, I'm going to probably work on the ZL Fairlane during my holidays to wind down a bit and have a bit of fun, get off the computer. And then the day that I was being like, you know, I'm going to get up, I'm going to start cleaning up, that demo man was already destroying the house. I got a bit of film of that I took and shared on my Facebook to some friends. And yeah, all getting very, very dusty. So, I'm going to plan on getting some work done. I'm going to clean up probably first, but here's the state that the shop is in now. Basically, that's why I'm filming. These things have got to go into wherever they got to go. It's got to go everywhere. Like, this stuff has to go in the box. The fuel tank has to go back with the car. All this stuff has to go back in the car, including maybe not number plates. All this stuff has to go back where it comes from, and these drawers need to be cleaned out of diesel, as those drawers will be stuffed maybe. And yeah, a bunch of this stuff has to be very, very much cleaned up. And hopefully, because this is all a pigsty here, Dad wants to see if he can sell the wood, but the reason for this is everything's going to look like the side of this house now does. Like, this is good, it's clear, there's no rubbish anymore. But to deal with all the rats and mice, I have to make a start. My big plan, my major plan for next year is hopefully to get a job. I'm not going to be doing mechanics, it's not a viable option for me personally. I'm actually going to see about doing either game design stuff, which I've been studying, and I'm basically going to make this a few parts of video. I'm going to call this the very first part because this is the pre-prep planning sort of thing before we work on the ZL, which is going to be cool. But I'm going to be looking towards getting some work next year and earning some money that if worse comes to worse, I can't do all the work myself. I can hire someone else to do everything and every step of the way, maybe even hire a workshop myself so that I can pull it all apart in. Right, I got all the bits apart, it's all organised, ready to go back together again. Every little bit that I need to get fixed, I take it from this spot, put it to the side, and I'll use chalk to mark out where everything goes because I want to try and be more organised. But the thing is, when you don't have space like this car, when the motor came apart, Dad said he had plenty of space, and he laid out all the parts on the back half of the shed and then put it all back together again. So yeah. With this one, however, the plan is put it in a workshop with plenty of space that we can lay everything on the ground nicely, that you can walk around and you don't break anything too easily. And if worse comes to worse, we throw up a few barriers so no one steps on anything. But unintentionally, I'd rather them walk into the barrier before they walk into the parts and do that stuff. Other than that, there's another plan, and that's to get this back in the other car, which is going to be a bit of work, but it's going to be worth it because my car works, so why not finish this engine off? Thing is, there's a little bit more work to be done. For one, there's a bit of rust building up everywhere, and it really needs to be dealt with. And dirt's getting in the motor, so it's not going to hurt it too much, but I'd probably feel tempted just to do stuff all over again with this one, because that's going to be a problem. Oh, also, Dad wanted to check the oil pump. So I'm digressing, basically. There is a lot of plans, a lot of intentions. It's a lot of money to restore a car, and someone who says they can do it for $1 a day, they're dreaming. By the end of the year, you'll have about $400. And if you include the costs of power, if you include the cost of paint and all the tools and everything you actually need to do a job, it is very, very expensive. In some ways, it's cheaper to go to your friend's house and get some help from him. If you have a specialty skill set, you can lend that to him, and if he has a specialty skill set, he can lend it to you. It's better to have the professionals do the work than do it yourself, but I'm going to try to do some of this work myself. And since we're talking about fixing that section of the car, let me see if I can find that section that we're going to be using to replace it. No, that's not it. I know what it looks like because here's the chunk that came out of that corner, and this is what it looked like, and there's your reason why it rusted out. It rusted up there too, so there's a bit of work to do on the inside. I reckon that this is not going to be an easy fix anyway. I thought, meh, I can do this, but then I realised there's a bit more to it than that. Okay, so I don't actually see that piece of steel anywhere, not right now anyway, that we're going to be using to replace that section. It does exist, and if it doesn't, I'll have to shoot myself in the foot because there was a bit of welding going into that, I believe. Unless I put it in the car, which I wouldn't have a clue if I did or not. But I'd like to find it, if we can, to show you it's the piece that's going to be replacing that section. It could be in the boot, could be under the car, could be in the car. So that's a big part of the plan. The problem is, I feel like I'm going to struggle to manage everything because I'm managing a lot of stuff at the moment, which isn't a good thing, it's not a bad thing, but I just want to do things that make me feel good at the moment because it's a lot of work that I'm going through at the moment. I've been stressing out over all my schoolwork, I'm still stressing over it, and I've got only 2 weeks of holidays, and next year I have to actually go get a job or else I'm in trouble. So, or I gotta make a game before the end of the year, which kind of works at least, and sell it. So I actually think it's actually in here. There it is. Here we go. So I'm going to bring out the old piece, I'm going to bring in a new piece as well. Haha! Beautiful. There's a new piece right there. So I know how I'm going to do this time around. Every time I've welded, things have gone wrong. And the way I'm going to weld this time is I'm going to tack it always all the way around. I'm going to try and keep it moderately low temperature, and I'm going to weld it better than this. Like this needs, I'm planning to cut the biggest section I can out because these gutters really are cracking up a little bit everywhere and got holes in them. So I might redo the gutters, I might leave them alone because they're not too bad. I know this is a bad section I fixed, but I got to cut a bigger section out of this one, and that's because of my fault. And I'm going to make a new piece of steel up, or I'm going to flex this one out and reuse this section. So as we can see, it's buckled and bowed right there down, which is a very bad sign, meaning I'm going to cut it probably up to here somewhere, and I'm going to take this a bigger chunk out of it. It's going to go down below this panel, go across. I'm going to go to a point where it's going to feel normal, because all the metal is stretching out and it's not good, it's not healthy. So it's a part of the plan. I can get grinders in here and grind that out with small ones. It'll take a long time to grind, but it's going to happen. And it depends if I can be successful with this section or not. Back when I was doing the welding that I did, I was a lot younger, a lot less wise. I'm not sure if this is wide or not. Yep. But here's the original piece. I don't know if it's the complete section. It doesn't look like it. It looks like there's something missing. All I can say is too bad I don't have that piece. So this one came from here when it got cut out. That's how this one would have fit, roughly. That's how it looks. Now if I grab this piece, it's almost perfect fit. But I feel like that's a bit undersized. Oh, she looks a bit off. That looks a bit way too off. Way too off. Why does it look so off? Isn't that meant to bend upwards and not downwards? This one's going down. I'm pretty sure it goes up, not down, or stays parallel. So the other side we look at, and it goes down slightly. Slight angle, like a few degrees. With this, it's meant to stay like level with the rest. So let's see this one more time. It could work, it just needs a little bit more flexing and bending, and that's roughly where it's going to go anyway. It just looks a little bit out, like it's been tacked. That is not enough penetration in my eyes. Like I can tell that one's cracked right there. That one's not actually welded really well, and the rest looks good, but it's not really, and that's why I'm worried about welding this. That's why I'm like, no, I can't weld this car. Dad wants me to oxy this. This is what I'm going to be using to replace the bits of steel in the car. I'm going to put these a bit localer. Or actually, you know what? Let's put them on the benches so I remember. Oh, these pieces are going to be going in. My digression is going to be a little bit funny. I feel like 15-20 minutes is about what I'll do for this video. And I'm almost out of things to really talk about beforehand. So, the major plan is putting that window in the rear if we can, so that's out of the way. It keeps the car sealed at the back. Putting this door back on its hinges, putting the window up, and maybe getting a piece of cardboard or something to cover the window so the rats and mice aren't in the car, and fixing up this hole. And if we ever get time to, this one's going to be easy. It's about fixing this hole here. Now it's not really too structural right there, apparently. This is more of a hole, and it's rusty as well. So I'm gonna have to clean it up more. I got a lot of work to do if I do work on this, and this hole has to be sealed up. So that's all the holes really to be sealed up on the car. The front. Is there any holes in here? Probably. Ah, shanks, there's another hole. Okay, so there's another hole has to be fixed. But there's just so much to do, and it's not within my skill sets to repair a car like this. I've never really welded a car other than the failures that I've made, and some of them might actually get redone, which could be good, could be bad, I'm not sure. I want to take this to professionals to get them to do it, because it's not really my specialty to fix rust and stuff in cars. More or less it's about thinking, is this look right, is this right, is it wrong? But it's not more of correction. I'm not very good at correcting. The only things I have wrong with the car really is there's pieces missing, like you can see a chrome strip missing. I think we actually found that. The lights are cracked up. And everything else looks okay, I guess, except when you look at it from over there and you look at over there, the bonnet doesn't really look like it's sitting, the boot doesn't look like it's sitting down really flush. It looks a bit up. So there's something funny there. Don't know if it's good, don't know if it's bad, but I really want to get this car finished. There's dents in the side a little bit, I can see, because the paint doesn't really look right. That's what I've learnt. And finding bog in the body is another thing I've learnt. So that's why there's no real bog in the body anymore. They do come out of the factory with bog, by the way. So anyone that wants to know if there's bog in the body of a car, yeah, there actually is. It's a body filler, sort of a seaming stuff. So anyone who tells you they never come out of the factory with bog, they do. They do, because there's all these sections where they have to put bog in them. And if I had to, I could prove it with my car that I pulled the bog out of. Not this car here though, but they put bog everywhere in a car that they really need to seal up. So they put bog right there. That's bog right there, and that's from the factory bog. And then it goes all the way up there. The problem with bog, and this is why people really don't like using bog, is if the paint cracks and the bog is revealed, you can see the bog, then bad things happen. So let's go for a walk. Yeah, facing sideways. Okay, so the point I'm going to make is this car right here. This is the MH, the one that was going to go, but it didn't go. And if we look in there, you see that seam of bog? And you can see it's all cracking up. You can see all the rust building up. Yeah, I can see bog, but it's hurting my eyes to look up there because of the sun. And I think they have bog in there. They have bog just about everywhere in the car that they really need to cover the seams with. And it could be here as well. Look, that's bog right there, I believe. Or weld, more than likely. That's weld. That one there is weld, that's for sure. But they put it everywhere they have seams that's revealed. Like there was bog in here, I replaced it with Sikaflex. Sikaflex is no good. I learnt that the hard way. This here could be bog, not really 100% certain. And on this car, this is another one we could look at and say, hey, is there bog in this? Well, in the gutter normally there is. I can't really see it, but yes there is, right there. You see where it's cracking? That's definitely where there's bog. Because they do that because water builds up in those sections, and if water gets in there, then it gets in between the panels and rusts them apart. So that's the primary reason why they do what they do. Black Triton, I don't know where there'll be any bog, if any at all on this thing anymore, because like I said, they do it in those sections. They have different ways they do things these days from the old days and whatnot, and it gets a bit tricky to find things. But then again, we're looking at utes and a Pajero, for goodness sake. Pajero. So, and then we got an Altos we could potentially look at. Now this is more modern, not likely to see any bog in it anyway. But they do it where the panels come together, which if I had this... Oh, look at that. Well, like, Mum's door's opened. So if we can find where the panels get welded together, which is very unlikely to find anything in these doors. There we go. Why don't we look over here then? So, there's likely to be bog here. That likely doesn't look like bog, but they do have bog in there. Like, that's unnatural. That feels like bog. The rest doesn't really. That also at the same time looks like it doesn't just look like bog. This looks like because that's a bead. That is a bead. That is a bead of bog right there. And you can say that's not, but that's a bead. You can tell because it looks like the point in which the panels bend. But it's not really a part of this piece here, I don't believe. And also it gets thick here unnaturally. It's cracking there, and that's what I mean. All cars are filled with bog. I don't care what people say to me about, oh, cars don't normally come out of factory bog. And that's a bead of bog right there. I can point it out to you because that's how you know. Every car you buy, it's full of bog. It comes out of the factory with bog. The reason it's there is so then they can paint over it, and also to connect the two panels together in a way that no water's going to get in between. expansion, vibration and stuff that can break it. And that's why people don't really care about buying new cars, because eventually it's just going to break. You're going to end up with rust spots everywhere. You just have to keep looking out for things before they happen to get too bad. And the only way you really know is by looking at the car in all the spots where you definitely will see water and you definitely think it will just be under a lot of stresses. And you have to look for like rust. Like if you see rust, first sign of rust, how can I point that out to you? I think the cars out there do have some of the first signs of rust sort of thing. This car won't really have any of the first signs of rusting sort of thing yet, because if there was any sign of rusting here, what you'd see is like anywhere the water's been running, you'll see rust. The worse the rust, the worse it gets. As soon as you see something that doesn't look right, a little bubble like on the hood, that's right, the hood, that's a first sign. Basically, the way you fix the hood if you're getting in those sort of bumps in it is you clean it up. It's gonna not be smooth, so you can't paint it. You get some bog, and look, there's bog right friggin' here. What are you talking about? That's bog. That can't not be. And look, the paint's stripping as well. That's why it's in the shed at the moment, because it's rusting. And that's rusty as well, I think. Yep, there's rust inside of the bonnet. Bastard. It's really bad. But here, you can see I've found rust there, found rust everywhere. You can't stop it, it's gonna happen, it's inevitable. But that's bad. There's rust there I didn't even know about. There's rust there. You can't say that this is fixable, because it's not. You can only prevent it. You can only try to undo it. Like if there's a hole going straight through the hood, there's only one way to really fix it, and that's cut a section out, slowly weld a piece back in there, and then bog that up, just make sure it's right, and sanded and grinded and stuff. It's a lot of work, and there's professionals that will tell you how they do things. There's professionals that will probably say that I'm wrong. Honestly, I don't feel too wrong, because every professional I know, they've said no cars come out of the factory with bog. I will prove otherwise, because it's how they are built. Like this is this reason why they put bog in it. You see this little crack here and how it's been painted over? This is where they'll fill it up with bog, a car, to prevent water getting in there and messing up the inside of the panels, because you can't get in there and properly paint it and stuff. So anywhere there's like the two pieces of steel coming together, welded together, whatever, that's where they fill it with bog. That's done right, that's filled with bog. That's not, I believe it's because stuff's been done, but that's how you know. People don't understand that every car you buy is full of bog. I don't care if it's old or new. The best ones are that are not really too bad when it comes to rusting are the four-wheel drives, if looked after, because hey, I got my Triton Utes and they're not really too rusty, they're quite good. But as soon as any paint peels, it doesn't matter what you do, you're gonna see rust unless you repair it straight away. Put kill galv on it, don't care, and fix it later when you got money. So basically you can use like a rust guard sort of thing. I don't know where the cold galv is, but right, oh there we go, right nights, cold galv. There you go, use that. That stuff is like $100 a tin just about. Well actually that one's about $40, $50. And then you got paints. You know, you can use that stuff, then you can paint it with some paint. Doesn't matter what paint it is. It gets you out of trouble when the thing's really bad and it looks terrible that you can't fix it. And you know, wherever it rusts, you could always go crazy and say, it looks terrible, but then if you use your mind, you could like use it, put decals on the side of the car where the rust is, and protect it first, and then put your decals on, and then it looks different, and no one will know the difference. You'll just go to show you've covered your tracks with where the problems have been and whatnot. So this car has a lot of work to be done. We see that now. The reason my father removes these chrome strips, because shit builds up in there. I can see some shit in there, and then they rust. So I'm gonna tell you my little secret to how I'm gonna do these chrome strips. Before I put them back on there, the car's gonna be painted. Then when I go to put them on there, I'm going to use clear or black or some coloured sealer, probably clear. And when I go to put these on, I push them in, then I'll wipe away and get rid of that sealant from the edges, so then the strip never has to come off, and it will always look good. At the same time, it will never go bad. The reason a clear sealer would be the best is because you'll get to keep the colour. It won't stand out. It'll be like a fish tank, and we might still have some stuff, but it's a lot of digression, I know. But we're talking about dealing with issues. Like, this is all I've got at the moment I can see. That's a window and glass seal, and that's black. I use this stuff on the Fairlane when I first worked on it, and that's why that one's hard tube. So, it feels like there's a lot of work to be done still. And that's true, because I'm talking to you guys at the same time. I'm not doing any work. There's a shelf. I'm digressing a lot, but understand, to do this car, it might not be within my skills to just go ahead and say, hey, it's done, deal with it. To me, in my eyes, I feel like every section of this car is going to have something wrong with it, and that's why I need professionals to really go and fix it. Like, in my eyes, I can see fixing the car, but then I'm going to have rust coming through the seal panels, which is going to be upsetting and bad. Like, that sounds solid enough. Just get it sandblasted and fill it with paint or something, I don't know, and make sure it's clear. There are sections you just can't fix unless you really cut the crap out of them. Like, cut this section out and fix all the rust inside there, and then put it back together again. It's a lot of interesting work, and the easiest way to fix this, give it to professional. They'll acid dip it, they'll paint it, they'll dip it in a paint or a coating of some sort, one that it will protect it for 20 years guaranteed apparently, and it will make things last, because there's a lot of money that goes into fixing a car. Bits and pieces are sitting up there. Don't know how I'd replace most of these pieces or fix them, but it's a lot of work, it's a big plan, and for now I'm just going to get ready to do some work. I'll be doing that in my own time. When we do get to the car, that's when I'll make a video of the car itself, because it's, like I said, a lot of work. And there's the window. So now we've identified a lot of things that are done. My new door, I love it. Hi. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. See you later, everyone. Next video is later.